Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Kindred Spirits here on the RFK Refugees Podcast Network. If you're listening live, welcome back in. We're talking Washington Spirits, the sometimes U.S. women's national team, women's soccer in general. We like to cover the women's team, even though it's been not as fun as last year. But we have a fun show this week because they finally got a win. They finally got a win.
They did. They have a nice bookend on the season. They start the season with a win and start to finalize the season with another W. So I bet you we're going to see a run here. It's going to be too late, but we're going to see one, I bet.
They're still alive. There's still a chance. They're still alive in the playoffs.
I don't believe that's true.
I think they're not mathematically eliminated yet. I think that's what Jason Anderson posted. They're not mathematically.
Okay. All right.
They're not mathematically eliminated.
All right.
They are. I guarantee if they make the playoffs, it'll be one of the biggest stories in U.S. Soccer. By far.
Again,
by far. But we got a new coach, a new interim coach leading the thing. It's Albertine Montoya is the new interim coach. He's apparently just been brought in. So changes afoot over at for the Washington Spirit. Let's talk a bit about the game. A wild 4-3 result, 4-3 win. A game that had all the markings of every single game we have watched. Every single game we have watched in this 16. I think they even put up a stat that showed all the winless, all the times they've given up goals in this winless streak at the sort of tail end of the season. And it's still just wild to watch. John, did you have I kind of watching the game, I was kind of like, it was kind of a here we go again type of attitude.
Oh yeah. I mean, you couldn't not do that after the way this season has gone. After the goal scored off the back of Alex Morgan's head to equalize, I believe that was like the 88th minute or something, pretty late. Like once again, sort of really, I didn't see the stat, but seeing how many points they've given up after the 85th minute, I think is pretty crazy high. You had to assume this is just what it is. The curse is not broken. The curse continues, unfortunately, but not the case. We managed to not have that. Sorry, 82nd minute. So I still thought it was still kind of late, but there was just a lot of things weird going on in this game. You had stolen player Jaden Shaw scoring her second consecutive goal for San Diego, but scoring at Audi Field for the wrong team. Should have been for us.
Yeah, nice. A great ball over the top and a nice finish.
Actually, literally everything in this game is kind of weird. All right, so I'm gonna run through the facts that it was weird, and then we can come back after the fact.
Okay.
Jaden Shaw scores. We've discussed that was weird. Tara McKeown scores off a one-time shot, crushed the ball in the upper 90. Tara has had a problem score. I think that's her second goal of the year, I believe, but also has not really been great at taking her opportunities. The second goal of the year, yes. Not really shooting when she has a chance. I would have been sure she was going to take a touch on that and allow the defense to shift back in. It didn't happen. Amber Brooks scores inside the box with her foot off a corner. A ball is just bouncing around in the middle of the box. She shoots. It might have been deflected, but goes in the net. Credited to her. Then Amber Brooks scores a brace off of a header where a ball goes over the entire where it was intended to be shot to through the 18. She jumps back, falling back, is able to lob header it past Sheridan to score. So all right. We're up 3-1. We're up 3-1 at halftime. Shocker of the season.
And let's not forget Amber Brooks's prime.
Oh yeah, we're not there yet. We're not done yet.
We're not there yet.
It's coming. All the things that have happened in this match are notable. Alex Morgan comes on, concedes. I believe when I was talking to someone said that it was a soft penalty. I watched the replay. It was not soft.
Nope.
Amber Brooks was bull in a china shop, ran into her, not seeing where the ball was. Alex Morgan does what Alex Morgan does. Converts 3-2. And then in the 82nd minute, as I said previously, a cross comes in, I believe off a corner. Alex Morgan scores off the back of her head. She didn't see it coming. It just happened. So that's what we're talking about. We got a 3-3 82nd minute. I'm sorry, the double bird. The double bird was right then. Amber Brooks gives the double bird to the linesman, who, because the ball that went out over the goal line for a corner was not, she disagreed with that and gave her the bird, and then the goal happened immediately afterwards. So iconic right off the bat. And then in the 90th plus 10, The latest goal in NWSL history to change the result, Ashley Hatch converts a penalty because of course she does. She always does. She is nails. She is absolutely 100% cold blooded for this team, and they get a victory.
Very fortunate that Amber. I was like, who is she flipping off? And it was like, if she flips off the referees, I don't know if the referee just didn't see it or
She must not have.
Yeah, because that that very well. I don't know if VAR exists and they have cameras.
Next year
on
they will.
Yeah.
Next year it will. So next year she's in trouble. I even think she might be in trouble with after the fact.
I think a fine is incoming. I'm sure, maybe even a suspension for that.
Yeah, one of those two. I think that's a given at this point. So you'll be looking forward to seeing Karina Rodriguez at center back next week. I think is a good bet. But yeah, man, everything about this game was bananas.
It was bananas.
I think if this season if the duck was ever going to be broken against a team who was in first place in the whole league for much of the season, although isn't now, and we'll talk about that in a second. It was going to have to something weird was going to have to happen, and it did. And this is let's talk about players that stood out for you. I know that we talked beforehand. There was a player you really wanted to spotlight.
Yeah, Ashley Sanchez was what we expect. I won't say, again, nobody's had a perfect or even a fantastic year this year. When you're in near the bottom of the league, things tend to not go well. And I kind of highlighted, I think at least a couple episodes ago, that I don't think Ashley Sanchez has had a really effective season that we really saw when she really put it together late in 2021 is a large reason why this team went on the championship run that they had. And she was a beast through most of the first half. A couple moments, she gets, of course, the first assist on the first goal. By the way, great moment. I think one underrated moment from this game is Trinity Rodman running on the first goal, kind of running down the sideline, getting like fouled multiple times, kind of throws her hands up, I think almost looking at the center referee like, are you going to call something? And then she's like, oh, look, there's somebody open. Let me just keep running and plays the ball and then starts the goal. So excellent moment from her. But I think she had at least Ashley Sanchez at least had a couple moments where she, dispossessed San Diego in the third of the field from her pressing. Just really had, I thought, the best performance of the Spirit players. Had the best performance of the game. Obviously goes out, I think, in the second half. I think around the 80th minute. Just really had given it her all. Was excellent throughout the game. Created at least a couple chances. One was definitely converted. I think she at least had a role in at least one of the other goals as well. So just an all-around fantastic performance for her. Obviously, got a spot like Ashley Hatch for the goal. Defensively, though, this team needs some retooling.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. We called out previously in the last show for the DC United, looking at their goal differential. That continues to be a problem. They're only at -4, which is a surprise for the season. Gotham at -24, which is positively DC United-esque for Gotham. Those preseason trades did not work out. Yeah, but the defense is clearly going to be where they need to focus. I mean, it had to be, right? Because if you look at right now where all the money is, it's in the attacking triangle, and it should be. Those players are among the best in the league. So look to see what they can do next year with Kelly O'Hara's contract, with Emily Sonnet's contract. I believe, depending on what definition of free agent gets accepted by both the league and the Players Association, I think Kelly O'Hara is available as a free agent. So I think that's clearly where this team is going to look in the draft. I think it's where this team's going to look internationally. Mark Krikorian has the reins of the team now, and there's not going to be a coach most likely in place. And even if there is, it seems very much like his viewpoints are going to carry a lot of weight in player identification and what kind of football they play. So keep that in mind. I said San Diego Wave led much of the season, led the league most of the season. I want to call out the fact that Kansas City Current is the first place team in the NWSL right now. Talking about the fact that this league is crazy, the fact that anything can happen. See last year in the Washington Spirit. Kansas City Current, all of a sudden, this season cannot be beaten. Mm-hmm. They are unbeaten in their last 5. They have beat North Carolina Courage by a combined score that scored 7 goals on them in the last 2 games they played them. that was a team when you looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year. You looked at Kansas City, you looked at Racing Louisville, and then you thought maybe San Diego Wave as an expansion club will be bad. And those are the points. Those are the games you'll automatically get points against. You make plans and God laughs, or whatever the phrase is. Like, obviously the season has not gone as anyone expected it to, but certainly Kansas City Current being in first place this close to the end of the season was not on anybody's radar.
Yeah, and we should, by the way, issue a small correction from our last week's show when we stated that the team will potentially have the number 1 or number 2 draft pick.
Thank you for reminding me about this bummer.
Someone has informed us they actually have traded that top first round pick away.
That was in the Emily Sonnet deal.
Yep.
So at the time, I believe we traded Maggie Doherty Howard and pick of the future. And at that time, we're like, who cares? We got Emily Sonnet. Now we care. I care. we really messed that one up.
To be clear, if the team really, we have seen, by the way, if the team really finds a player that they like, they can maneuver themselves. I believe they did not have the first round pick last year as well, if I remember correctly, and they managed to trade in to that slot. If my memory serves correctly, or they did at least
mortgaging 3 years from now. That's tomorrow's Spirit problem.
We'll see. I mean, you bring in Kevorkian because you know that he is, he has the college knowledge. You would hope. So you would think that he could leverage some of that ability and utilize the draft. So we'll see. It's going. I expect a massive turnaround for this team next year. I think the talent's there. Everything is there. They need to get the right coaching staff in. Do we think Montoya is back next year? Do you think he becomes the full time?
He has already basically said that it's intimated that his job, his youth coaching empire in California is too good. He's got family out there. He's already been a pro coach in the past. He's coached Kelly O'Hara early in her career. I think this is just I can step in and help you here for a couple months, and then you're going to find the guy or the woman you want long term. So I think that's TBD on that on who the hire actually is. I've not heard any other names sort of circulating at this point.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. I think this was a player. This is a hire. I was like, I mean, if I thought at first I thought he was the full-time coach, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. Maybe he wants to be the full-time coach. I think what maybe you're looking at here is you have a player like you talked about Kelly O'Hara. I think you have another situation in which a coach was let go for situations that were performance related. Were certainly not entirely performance related, and there was clearly a lot of unhappiness in the locker room. So I think you bring him in to kind of get the players playing happy again. This win certainly helps. I think it certainly helps things a lot and kind of maybe building a better sort of rebuilding up that club atmosphere that you had in 2021 when you went on to win the championship. So,
so by the way, you mentioned the team is not eliminated yet from the playoffs. Chicago has 27 points. We have 16 points. We have 4 games left to play.
So 12 points.
12 points from 16 no 12 points from 12 points. 12 they
win every game.
Points.
Win every game, and then they're at 28, which would put them 1 point above.
So you got to put the hex on the Red Stars and Angel City and North Carolina and Orlando. So
I'm sure those teams are playing each other at certain points. So I'm sure I'm sure it's not a straightforward path. It's probably like a whole bunch of results have to fall away. They're not making the playoffs, guys. I mean,
but they are playing Gotham next on Saturday, and that's another good bet for a win. Just a peculiarity of Gotham season: 4 wins, so double the amount of wins we have, but no draws on the entire season and 14 losses. That's mathematically curious. Hernan Losada is coaching Gotham FC. He's losing every game 4-3.
This whole NWSL season has just been, it's been crazy. I don't know how else to do. It's not just been weird for the Spirit. It's not just been weird it's been weird across the league. The Challenge Cup, the gaps, everything's just been, I mean, this, and we have the free agency thing, which you talked about, where apparently nobody can agree on what a free agent is. This is like very early days MLS, but just the media and attention that is out there. I guarantee you there was, as we know, the league was as goofy in like the early days of Major League Soccer. And again, the NWSL is not a young league. It's been around now for over 10 years, but it still feels very much like the spotlight on the league has grown. That, yes, maybe 10 years ago they could get away with a little bit of haziness about what a free agent is. Now they're like, people, what you have dedicated media outlets that are like, well, what's a free agent? And they're like, oh, well, we're not really sure yet. We'll let you know. So
we had an agreement on our CBA, but that already is a bit unclear. So yeah, it's dumb. By the way, folks, if you somehow don't have a Smart Trip card, somehow the commemorative Washington Spirit NWSL Championship cards are on sale at Navy Yard, Waterfront, and Gallery Place in specially marked fare machines. I would do that. I use mine digitally, so I have no need for it. But that would be very cool. So that's a good collectible. Yeah. Go buy that.
Go do it, man.
And yeah, I mean, we've got 4 games left before the end of the season. We're going to have a big review show, I think is our plan. Sort of a post-mortem on where this season ends up. I'm hoping, if we don't get the first draft pick, then let's try to win as many points as we can. Then let's throw all the points at the wall. So the rest of the season is Gotham, hopefully a win. Angel City FC.
They've slipped. They have slipped.
They're in 7th place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think losing your star player to a torn ACL early in the season was not helpful.
No.
Kansas City Current, first place team. Kansas City Current. Maybe they'll be resting players because they're so comfortably in first place by that point. And then a season wrap with the Houston Dash on October 1st at home. So I don't know.
Another team that's in turmoil after letting their coach go.
I see 7 points and missing the playoffs. That's what I see.
7 points and missing the playoffs.
That's what I see. I think we lose to the Current. I think they beat Gotham. I think they beat the Dash, and I think they draw against Angel City away. And we still do not pass go and collect $200. But that's okay. And then we'll have a whole offseason to figure out how the defense gets fixed, who's going to come in and coach, and then get excited about 2023, because 2022 for both of the clubs that we talk about on a weekly basis, not been great.
Nope.
We can only go up from here, literally, in DC United's case.
Yep. And in the Spirits case as well, it can only go up from here. I would put more money on them on them going up from here, on their season sort of going up, because I think they have the talent. I think if you tell me next season that they will be, the top seed or they'll be the Supporter Shield winners of NWSL 2023, I would say I absolutely agree. I absolutely could see that.
I think if somehow the Spirit are in the bottom 3 again next year, they need to burn Segra to the ground, because there has to be some sort of offering to the gods.
Hopefully, I'm hopeful. We gotta hope this is the last year of Segra.
The attendance at Audi Field has not been very good.
It was 10,000. It was 10,000.
10,000 pretty good. It's pretty good, but the Audi Field thing was predicated on being able to be able to do what they did 2 years ago, mm-hmm. when they were selling 16,000 for those odd off games. Maybe not. Maybe there's going to be some agreement, but yeah, man. 2022. Let's flush it.
I think if you can do enough, you can convince DC. Look, you need to play this. It's honestly, like, at the very least, like the coverage that you get every time they play at Segra is not good.
For sure.
You have players complain. You have everybody complain about how awful it is at Segra. You know what's a way to make it go away? Just like have them play at Audi Field. Honestly. So again, it's going to be a packed. I think like the XFL is returning to Audi Field, if I understand correctly. So there's going to be turf and pitch issues next year. They're coming back from where they were in the beginning of 2020. So it's going to be and I'll be interested to see what that looks like next season. How many more games are they going to play at Audi versus Segra? Will there be improvements made to Segra that will actually make it a playable field or playable surface? Probably not. Yeah, I guess this is going to be a short one. I think. I don't think I have much else to say. It was a wild game for the Spirit. Not a whole lot of news outside of it, which is probably a good thing personally.
You know what? In this season, that's great. There were no articles on the front page of the Washington Post before the game, so we're gonna call that a W.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks so much for listening to Kindred Spirits here on the RFK Refugees podcast. Donate to us on Patreon, patreon.com/RFK Refugees. You get the whole entire show, the RFK, the United 96 show where we talk DC, and Kindred Spirits. So it's definitely worth it. If you're a Spirit fan and want Spirit coverage early, it's definitely worth it for you to join. And also check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/RFK Refugees if you want the live show. We still do the live show, so definitely check that out. And or donate to us on Patreon. Donate to us on Twitch. Donate to us everywhere. Buy merch. We got merch. We didn't plug the merch.
We didn't. That's the one thing we did not ask their money for.
RFKrefugees.com/merch. We got the holidays coming up. Buy a nice gift. We got some cool logos and designs we've done. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys next week. Vamos.
Vamos. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll do the editing for the audio.
Yep.